Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsockеtradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Monday morning, it is April 1st, so it's April Fool's Day, so just be careful.
What a joke.
John already looked up a good joke that's already been by Elon Musk. And what did Elon Musk say today, John?
God, you expect me to remember that? Said he's going to work for Disney as their DEI officer.
Isn't that DIE officer?
Disney?
I die.
That's John Warden right over there. Good morning to you, John.
morning.
Hi, John.
Good morning,
Melissa
everyone.
Murray's here. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
And
Hi,
Dave,
Melissa.
Dave Richards is here as well.
I am.
I saw
Yes,
another
you are.
headline,
Okay.
too. They're deciding to cancel the presidential election this year because nobody wants any of those guys.
No, that's true. There's a guy in Texas changed his name
Yeah.
to literally anybody else.
Yeah.
He's going to win. I love that.
Could be.
All right, so we got a city council meeting tonight there, John?
Oh, yes,
Tomorrow's
we do.
election day, by the way, for that. For those of you
Yes.
who
Oh,
are
That's
there.
right. There is election day
Tomorrow's
tomorrow.
election day, so that
So-
you can go vote. Actually, you want to go vote for the people you want to have go to the conventions.
Right.
Is that what it's
That's
really
really,
for?
That's
what it
valid
is.
for those people.
Okay.
I'm sure they're interested in your participation,
Have you ever
even if
wanted
those
to do
other
that,
clowns
Melissa?
aren't.
I was going to do it this year, and
Yeah.
I had too many other things going on, and I missed the date.
She said
Okay.
something about being a Democrat in Chicago in August. That doesn't sound safe.
She's too young to remember that.
That's right. 1968. My goodness.
I'm not.
All right. Anyway, John, city council meeting tonight.
Yeah, there's a
What
bunch
are,
of-
what are the highlights?
Oh, it's only going to last about 15 minutes. No.
Really? That's pretty
No.
quick.
No.
Oh, we're being funny?
No.
April Fools?
No.
Hey, hey,
April
when
Fools.
Garrett's message takes 5 minutes and 31 seconds to read the agenda, it ain't going to be no 15-minute meeting.
All right.
Well, a lot of it should be easy to do. In any case, we have
Okay.
three license public hearings for transfers of licenses on restaurants, various restaurants. That is JD Pizza up on Mendon Road, Christopher's Restaurant on where is
Main.
that? Main Street or South Main? South Main Street.
South Main.
Yeah.
And then a request for a hookah lounge on 111 Main Street, which was done years ago. Didn't work out well, but it was done years ago.
Is the police department against this one too?
I
Or
don't
you know
see
yet?
any. There's nothing in here yet from the police department
Okay.
that I can see.
They usually frown on these
I'm
places.
sure they'll have something to say.
Yeah.
The problem is it was bad enough when it wasn't legal to have marijuana recreationally, but now that it is, it's like,
I
all
need
right,
police.
what are they smoking?
Yeah, that's right.
Ventilation will be an issue.
Ventilation's always an issue. Unfinished business, we got to appropriate some ARPA funds. Gee, what do you know? And then granting a petition of a poll, which is standard business. We have a couple of things. One thing that's going to be tabled is $80,000 of ARPA funds to pay for the city's contribution to the December 31st, 2024 statistical update to the assessed values. And the state pays 60%, the city pays 40% because we are a distressed community, and $80,000 will be the city's share. And we won't be paying for another revaluation for 3 years, I believe, after that, which will put us out at 2027, where we have to pay the whole bill. And I'll just warn you now, it'll probably be costing somewhere in excess of $400,000 by then. So we may have to do some set-asides in a budget to put a savings account together for that. Next one is there's a couple of language changes in ordinances that the tax assessor suggested to us. One has to do, and these should pass easily. One has to do with the fact that back in 2001, I believe it was, the annual appropriation ordinance ended up being put into the code of ordinances, and so it says that the assessment every year will be $36 million, but it's not.
Okay.
So we have to just clean up that language. The second one is the fact that we're charging 18% on miscellaneous charges in the Code of Ordinances, and there's going to be a reduction, a proposal to reduce that to 12%. Martha Tatro to be reappointed to the Board of Canvassers and Registration. A resolution to support litter-free Rhode Island. I think I'm going to oppose that.
You want more litter?
No, I'm kidding.
John wants
Just
more litter,
kidding.
everybody.
Just kidding.
April Fools.
It's like, no, I'm gonna limit myself to opposing Mom and Apple Pie. I'll support this one. And then there's Spectrum Real Estate Team to market All Saints Church property. Then there's 4 separate resolutions authorizing the settlement of certain claims, and what that is for 3 years they were taxing leasing companies with equipment at Landmark, even though Landmark was tax exempt and had apparently already bought out those leases, and so the tax bills were being sent improperly. And so we have to abate it, though we never collected it, so we don't have to give them a refund check. We never claimed it as revenue, but it's about $550,000 rounded up of taxes that we will never collect, though we sent out bills for it. Let me see. Oh, yes, we're actually requesting from the State Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission permission to demolish 148 Hamlin Avenue. That's
Big
the
surprise
building in
here.
front of the middle school, which at the same time we are having asbestos abatement done, but it would have to be done if it was demolished anyway.
But do the history people come out and say, "Oh, you can't do that"?
Well,
the deal was
we
made.
had to keep it up in order for the school to be built and all of the restrictions placed on us back then. But we did try to market it twice actually and failed. There is no reasonable way to turn it into an education building without spending an extraordinary amount of money on various things beyond just getting it into a building. So the request is going to be made. It's not saying we're tearing it down, but that we're requesting permission to, if we've made honest efforts to market the property and have failed. We'll see what we get from that.
Okay.
Once we pass the resolution, the letter will go off, and we'll look for a response, and then go from there. We're going to hire art.
Didn't we also try to didn't we also suggest that the Historical Society take it over themselves? I believe at one
That
stage
could be. I don't recollect
we
that
did
happening.
that
I
just
know
to show them how hopeless it was.
when it was first built, I believe there was an attempt. Somebody made an attempt to expressed an interest in buying it to do some work as a school,
Right.
but that failed terribly. And I know the city at some point tried to subdivide the lot and provide some parking spaces for the building and market it for business use, but there was no interest shown there. And so, yes, if it was intended to be possibly for the Historical Society, I don't recollect that one. But to me, that could potentially be a good use. But it's a very expensive building to rehabilitate. So
Oh gosh, yeah.
it would require, maybe if the Rhode Island Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission had money to grant, they could help pony up some assistance.
Well, maybe I'm dreaming, and I'm not kidding about it.
You are,
in
but
case
you
somebody
do that a
thinks
lot, Dave. That's okay.
But
Somebody's
what
gotta
I'm
do
trying
it.
to say is that I thought I remembered clearly that in order to demonstrate to historical people the hopelessness of reutilizing the building, and this would only have been a few years ago, that they offered it to this historical organization for like $1 or something, like, here, you take this and you do something, and they could see how hopeless it was to
Well,
try to
yeah.
do anything
Well,
with
sure.
it, and they refused, of course.
Right, because it would turn
because
into
it's our
a
problem,
$2
right.
million building.
So,
If you're lucky.
Easily.
yeah. So anyway, it's always a difficulty. I know the historical people have been faced with this reality before, and they say, "Well, we have to try." And I think that the
They already
city's,
have.
I think the
Right.
city's position tonight is that, look,
We've
we've
tried.
tried.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Alrighty then. Let me see. Where was I? Yes, there's hiring a firm to do some lead service line replacement for water lines that are dealing with lead that we have to get rid of with our grant money. Where are we? Oh yes, awarding a contract for Park Construction, Park Corporation rather, to do professional services related to the formal development of the specs associated with the Cass Park Recreational Athletic Complex. And then there's a zoning amendment to add a theater district to the downtown area around the Stadium Theater. Oh, this one's good. A resolution authorizing the mayor to grant a mortgage to the United States Department of Commerce, Economic Development, in connection with property located at 330 Social Street. Now, if you remember, that's supposed to be our food
Yeah.
hub.
Right.
Supposed to
No,
have
that's
all
right.
kinds of activity going on in there. And
Where Aaron
if
is-
you
used to
drive
be,
by,
right?
you see nothing.
Right.
And
A
Where
white building.
Yvonne's used
But
to
we
be,
own
where
the building.
Jetamatic
The
used
ci-
to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
The city bought the building with ARPA funds as our share of this grant. The problem is nothing's been done to initiate the activity associated with the grant, and I know there's some deadline coming up in May, but the mortgage seems to imply that we have to completely fulfill all the obligations of the grant. It's sort of like a guarantee on the grant to make sure it's being done
Right.
over the entire life of the grant. And there's a lot of questions around this because nobody that I know of has ever heard of this. And so there's a ton of questions. That's going to be tabled to a work session or a special meeting for next week so that we can get answers to questions. And then a contract with AT Contracting for lead hazard reduction services at 83 Hamlet Avenue, which is a house on Hamlet Avenue at the corner of Wells, maybe. It is a disaster when it comes to lead paint issues.
Okay.
And we have lead paint grant, the $4 million that was recently discussed on the paper. And that money, part of that money is to be used and has been approved to take care of lead mitigation.
To remove the lead paint.
And that, well, for what they can remove, they remove. For what they can't, they encapsulate.
Right.
They replace all the windows, do all the things necessary to make it a habitable structure and safe.
Someone living there now.
I believe, so. I'm not sure if they're living there right now, but they could be.
Okay.
But it's just not a safe place. So I don't know if they got all the rest of the lead paint in the country and used it on that building. But it's quite an extensive problem for that particular house.
All right.
And they applied for it legitimately, going through all the proper channels, and the state had to request from the city, had to request from the feds, the state, whoever, some leniency in spending more money, I think, than you would otherwise be allowed to spend, and so that's going to get taken care of. And then we're going to have some speaking done, hopefully brief. Mr. Poitras to discuss the Stadium Theater and Monument Square traffic calming plan.
Is he
Which-
for it or against it?
No.
Let me see. Let me think about that for a day. No, obviously he's for it. It's about, there's been some very high speed racers going by the Stadium Theater when patrons are coming in and out, and the school uses the area for drop off. And the mayor, the former mayor, many years ago, 2019 precisely, had come to the city council with a plan under a grant, I think using TIP funds that were designated for this purpose, to put a drop-off area, much like you have at PPAC in Providence, in front of the Stadium Theater building,
Okay.
or the stadium building, not the Stadium Theater entrance, but close to it, so that people could pull off of the main road and the traffic would be routed around the monument.
All right.
And that became caught up in questions of how are you going to control the space, et cetera, and then, like so many things, it was brought up, and it was a big explosion, press releases, and lots of fancy pictures and PowerPoint presentations, and nothing happened. So
It was 2019
It's-
because I think that happened in 2015 also.
it's possible.
14 and 15.
Possible.
I remember going to a
It's
stadium
possible.
theater. Yeah, it was big.
It's been 10 years now.
They were going to
It's-
paint it out
But
first.
when I
and, yeah.
checked the tip schedule online, the state's transportation infrastructure program, the funds are still there, designated for that purpose, and they're available through I think 2027. And so there's going to be a discussion. I had a discussion with the director at the Stadium Theater. The mayor has now had a conversation with her, and I know Councilman Gendron, coming back onto the council, first mentioned that at a meeting last week. So this is going to be brought back to life, and something's going to be done. It really involved Laurel Street, and apparently in my conversation with the mayor, the part of the problem with it was a lot of the money was going to be spent on some special decorative lighting for Laurel Street. And it's like, well, there's a bucket of nothing. How's about we just take care of the entrance of the Stadium Theater in the monument area, And the discussion, I think, is going to be around the issues that Director D'Agostino had about controlling access, gates opening, gates closing, things of that nature. And I'm thinking, no, to my mind, the better way is to widen out the road on the right of the monument towards the bank and literally put in pavers and make it a drop-off area exclusively to be used by the theater and the school for dropping off and picking up people from the theater and the school, and designate it with signage and maybe put a bump out so you can't drive straight through there. It'll slow the traffic down. It'll limit it strictly to those uses, much like as if you look at PPAC, their entrance area there's a sign there. It says for PPAC use only.
It can fit about 3 cars. It can fit about 3 cars.
Right. But, it's they widened out the street,
Right.
PPAC use, and the street. And we will have our street going to the right of the monument, and we'll have a drop-off area. And if it needs to be widened, then we may have to just bump into the parking lot at the bank. But, that's what, isn't that what government does?
Yes.
They widen streets by buying the budding land and make it work. See, the key thing is to make it work, because there's school bus drop off there, and there's patrons of the theater, and it should be safe for them to do it, and this is a way to do it.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. More about the City Council coming up in just a few minutes here. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240. At Dean Bank, their focus is on helping their customers achieve financial success. Dean Bank is a full-service bank, so they're able to deliver solutions that solve financial problems of all shapes and sizes. And as your neighbor, it's their mission to make a positive impact within the communities where they live and work. Dean Bank offers scholarships to students from participating schools, sponsor local charitable organizations, and more. Visit one of their local Blackstone Valley branches in Bellingham and Blackstone today, or find us online at deanbank.com. Dean Bank. It's my bank. The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
It is Coffee and on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, Melissa Murray. John Ward is with us as well, talking about the City Council meeting tonight. Who else will be speaking tonight?
Well, we have also the Public Works Director, as he does every meeting, puts something on there to talk about, and he's got the Cass Park Athletic Complex, the wastewater facility, All Saints property, and 181 Cumberland Street, which, by the way, currently is being used for water department employees, and who will be moving over to Roy Avenue once that building is done. And yes, construction has begun there, and they're working on the underground structures for the water supply and the sanitation systems. But there'll be a building going up there during the summer. You'll see it, be able to watch it. And 181 Cumberland Street also, apparently, I thought I heard conversations about moving some police personnel there, or dispatch or something, being relocated there temporarily. Then Councilman Mansari is going to be discussing RMI Compassion Center, which was denied, but I guess went to court and was allowed, and he wants to know what's going on with that. 0 Menden Road, Plat 49, Lot 396. I have no idea what that is, but he'll talk about it. I can look it up when I go home, I guess. Time cards for city employees, which is amazing to me, is when you go into City Hall and you see people still
Punch in and out.
punching in and out.
Like the Flintstone, you're going to knock the head down too.
Like, count the days. That's going to end, because this is ridiculous. I didn't know they still did that there. And then he's going to obviously talk about the Georgia City Novans Pride 5K, which is coming up at the end of May. Councilwoman Gonzalez is going to be discussing possible property tax credit in exchange for volunteer services performed by persons over age 60. Like that's old or something. And discussing of tax classification and tax treatment of 4-family residential units, which is probably appropriate because we're the only city that charges them as commercial properties. And a request that I have to discuss the ARPA and CDBG spending matters that I'm still compiling the list of, and the Menden Road land purchase investigation, because I'll be telling everybody about the fact that I'll be meeting with the attorney this week so he can bring me up to date, so I can schedule with him when we're going to next meet with the council to go over with the entire council in a closed session his findings and recommendations. Councilman Thompson's going to be talking about the fishing derby that's to take place on April the 13th.
All right.
When it's
Ernest
historically,
Carignan.
yes, the Ernest Carrigan, when it's historically cold and rainy, correct? Isn't that a mandate for that day?
Yes, it has to be.
No,
And a little snow.
it's about 50-50. We've had snow there, yeah, sure, but it's never warm at that time of year. It's always in the 40s or something.
And then we have a report that Garrett's going to present on the property committee meeting that took place March 21st. And that'll take care of everything.
All right, I have a question for you, John. Things I remember, and I don't know if you have an answer for this, but it goes back to the whole.
I'll have an answer. I don't know if it's going to be
Goes
right.
back to the whole Rhode Island Energy or Rhode Island Power. Rhode Island Energy. Tearing up Hamlet Avenue, and then had to stop because they ran out of money.
Come on
And you said
No, they
no,
didn't
no, no,
run
no.
out
Are we
of money.
beating
I
a
know
dead
it was
horse here?
no, we're not beating it.
Let's
It's
call
budgeted.
Let's go. Yeah, they ran out of budget.
Budgeted money. Okay, you said now in April they'll have a new budget, so you can come back and finish it. So when do you think they will be coming back to finish?
I don't know. When I drive home today from here, I will drive down Hamlet Avenue instead
And see if they're there.
before heading back up to Getchell Avenue. Well, I like to check on the old water treatment plant demolition from time to time, and I like to check on the Roy Avenue construction crews to see how that's going. So, what better way to start my trip there than to head down Hamlet Avenue and see if they've blocked it off?
Well, I didn't expect them to be there today, it being April 1st.
It's April.
I know they could be there
Could be. It's a Monday. Perfect time to
to
start.
start. Okay, so
I don't know though. It's
I
it's
just wonder
possible,
when it was planned that they
But,
would be coming back to finish.
but I'm sure
But
you'll
they
follow
started.
up with me on Wednesday.
Yeah, what'd you find out, John? All right, so that was
You know, Joe, you could have settled it by driving down Hamlet Avenue yourself.
that's way out of
Too
my
early.
way.
No,
It's
I-
way out of my
think
way
it's
to go there.
I think it's a little
in the
too
morning.
early for them to be starting.
Oh yeah, they're
to
not going
work
to be
on
over
the
there.
streets.
They're going to be over there at
It's not like the night crews that work on the highway. And
right. Okay.
I did have the experience. Let me see, what was it? I had the experience of not being able to get off of Route 295 onto 37, so you have to go all the way down and go around to come back up north on 95 to get to the airport, which is not unlike what I'm sure is going to happen soon to get off of 146 onto 295 north. So you have to go to 116, cross under the bridge, come back up onto 295,
Yeah.
onto 146 exit, and then get onto 295 north from that side. I forgot what dates that's going to happen, but that's going to
Soonish.
happen.
The note that
Will
was
it
called
hap-
in is at
will it
766-1240. What's it say, John?
It says, "Will the Hamlet Avenue project be discussed tonight?" Well,
Probably
I'll,
not.
I'll keep the note.
Okay.
And there are methods.
not on the- it's
there
not
are
on the
methods
agenda.
that if it's not on the agenda, there are means by which the state law allows you to add things. So
Swing it in somehow.
I'll keep the note, and we'll do in accordance with 46, 45, blah 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 blah. I'd like to discuss
Okay.
this, and so the council will say yes, and then we'll,
For discussion purposes
for
only.
discussion purposes only.
Okay. Meeting starts at 6, right?
The meeting
Didn't I hear about a...
meeting starts at 6.
He had to look.
Yeah, didn't I hear like a few weeks ago, people, mostly people in the audience, we don't like it at 6. Can you move it back to 7? And has there already been discussion amongst the city council members? Hey, should we move it back to 7?
Pretty much every meeting.
Really?
There's quiet discussion among the public and the council members and former council members and new council members and current council members. Yes, it's
To move it back?
it's discussed to move
Okay.
it back to
Okay.
7. Yes,
You think it'll happen? Not soon, but...
it
if it's
could.
Really?
I don't
Okay.
know.
All right.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Oh,
Okay.
Maybe next year. I don't know.
Give it a little while longer.
We gave it a trial. And,
Not long enough.
Well, that's true. It's really too early. I mean,
There
you
are
just started doing
there,
it.
there
so-
are issues sometimes
Can't
with
get here in
people who
time.
work down in Providence or out of town and might not get here in time. Like I
Yeah.
think of Councilman Thompson as an example. He works in Boston. But for convenient for him or lucky for him, the nature of what he does is he gets in there very early in the morning and he leaves early afternoon or mid-afternoon. So he's back in town before, by 4 or 5 o'clock generally at the latest. And that allows him the chance to get to the meeting at 6 o'clock. If he were working like I used to work in Boston, where I'd take the train and I was, at best, on a 5 o'clock train coming back, I wasn't dumping out at the Franklin station until 6 o'clock, or after 6, just shortly after 6, and it was all I could do to get to some school committee meetings at the time. So I'd be going straight to the school committee meeting from the train. So if that situation ever arose, that could present a problem because 6 o'clock may just be too early.
But you must like the fact that the meetings end around 9-ish.
Yeah,
It's
actually,
better than
you know,
10 or
the
11.
funny thing is, the problem was always the 7 o'clock meetings seemed to always end after 10,
Yeah,
and the 6 o'clock meetings end just after 8.
yeah, so that's better.
It's like starting earlier must compress time or something. I don't know.
Everyone's hungry.
I'll have to go check my theories of relativity.
They all just want to get home for Love Boat.
That's right. All right, other things going on in the news, and we had a fatality crash in Woonsocket on Saturday night. Is that a notorious bad area of Vernon and Maple? I don't normally hear of accidents.
Living
over
it,
there. You've
it's
driven it.
bad if somebody thinks that they're going to get across Vernon Street without stopping as they're coming down Maple Street.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the case.
Well,
or
tough to tell.
Alternatively, if you're coming up the hill on Maple Street and you have to peek out to see whether someone's coming on Vernon Street, you might get whacked
Yeah.
by somebody on Vernon Street. But I would think the highest risk would be people coming down Maple Street,
Right.
getting out into
Yeah.
Vernon Street too much, and then
That's a
either
significant
hitting a car
incline.
that's coming by that they
Yeah,
didn't see
it is.
coming or not. So
Well, also when you're operating under the influence.
it's a pretty steep hill, and if you're operating
Allegedly.
under the
The
influence,
cops have reason to suspect,
Yeah.
yes.
Then all bets are off.
alleged.
So, and it doesn't say what car was on which
Yeah, I don't
which
know
road.
who hit
so
what.
the second car hit the first car. That's where there was a 71-year-old man in the back seat of the first car.
that-
He's the one that passes
That
away.
makes me suspicious that a car coming down the hill probably didn't stop,
Hit the back
ran
of the
into
car.
the car that was coming through the intersection and hit the back seat passenger
Mm-hmm.
and the possible rear left quarter of the car coming across.
The two people in
That
the first.
certainly would have done serious damage and killed the person in the
Mm-hmm.
back seat from a side collision.
The two people in the front seat of that first car, they got injuries and they were taken to Rhode Island Hospital. The second vehicle, there was a 34-year-old passenger. It doesn't say if they got any injuries, but the second car was driven by a 45-year-old man from Woonsocket with the most ironic name. If you're going to get charged with DUI, his name was Sam Adams. You can't make this stuff up.
I know.
You just cannot make this stuff
I
up.
heard that said, and it's like, yeah, okay.
So he was arraigned.
It's not a situation that merits humor.
He don't look
No,
like,
but
he
it's a-
doesn't look much like Sam Adams.
No. And when I saw his
There was
picture,
a mugshot.
I saw his mugshot, and he doesn't look 45 either. I thought he looked 60, but that's just me. He was arraigned Sunday at the police headquarters, given $25,000 surety bail. He'll be officially arraigned today, 6th District Court, after he was taken down to the ACI. The investigation is ongoing, according to Police Chief Tom Oates. Adams may face additional charges. They have not released the name of the victim just yet. So that happened on Saturday night
Yep.
here in the city of Woonsocket. The other story that was big over the weekend is the plane crash in Narragansett Bay with a couple from East Greenwich who survived, hanging out in the water there for a while.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, they were rescued from
They swam
Narragansett
to a
Bay
buoy in the water
and hung out to it
under the buoy.
until someone's going to come and get us. Now the water's cold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This time of year. Happened about they were about 2,000 feet from the runway at Quonset State Airport around 3 in the afternoon. This happened on
Just didn't
Saturday.
have enough altitude to make the
Can't-
runway
just
when the
can't
engine
make it.
quit.
Yep. They
when-
swam to the buoy. And
Is
were
that
the-
where they were planning to land, or was that
Yeah.
where they were
They were-
bailing out to?
No,
They were planning to
land.
land at Quonset, and the engine quit, and they
I didn't
just
know
didn't
that.
have enough altitude to glide in.
I didn't realize they were using that airport for private
Personal use.
personal use.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of commercial tenants in Quonset Park that can use that to get access to their property at Quonset Point.
I didn't know.
Piloting their pilot aircraft. And
They're Piper.
so their Department of
It's
Environmental
a Piper. It's
Management,
the one with the wing under the fuselage.
the Department of Environmental Management Marine Unit, with the assistance of the Coast Guard, went out and the FAA went out and picked them up. They were treated for hypothermia and some minor injuries. The engine failed on its final approach. So yeah, they were basically going in there. The cause of the crash is under investigation from the FAA. But usually when things like that happen, it's like usually there's fatalities involved. But they said I read another story about it, and the woman said, "We today is not our day to die, so you will hang." Said that to the guy. You will hang out to the buoy until we are rescued. Do you understand? Yes, I do.
Uh-huh.
So goodwill to live, right there.
Yes.
So that's great for them. All right, we're going to take another break here on the Coffee and program, and it's time for a look at the forecast, which is being brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Mostly cloudy skies today, high of 56 and calm wind. Tonight, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 39. Tuesday's weather, a chance of some rain mainly in the afternoon, cloudy skies all day, 49 degrees high temperature. Tuesday night, 50-50 chance of rain. Wednesday, a 90% chance of showers, high of 42, breezy with winds increasing over 30 miles per hour. Thursday, showers remain likely, 70% chance, cloudy skies, high of 42. Friday, mostly cloudy and 45. Saturday, mostly cloudy and 46. And Sunday, mostly sunny and 52.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have cloudy skies and 43 degrees. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate. Whether you own a restaurant or an auto repair shop, you need as many customers as you can get. Every business does. Don't limit yourself to one newspaper. Get the power of 2 daily newspapers for the price of 1. The Blackstone Valley's Call and Times deliver customers from all over the valley with just one phone call. Phone 767-8500 for twice the effectiveness over twice the area. The Call and the Times.
When you're thinking about a place to go out to eat with your family or the whole gang, or maybe something quieter for just the two of you, head over to ON Radio's website, OneSocketRadio.com, and click on the restaurant guide. This gives you a listing of the best restaurants in the area. You can take a look at menus and possibly even make reservations. This is a great resource to see a bunch of restaurants all in one place. Remember, it's OneSocketRadio.com and click on Restaurant Guide. And if you own a restaurant that's not already listed, call WOON Radio at 401-762-1240 for information on how your restaurant can be on the Restaurant Guide. Call Joe at 401-762-1240. It is Coffee and here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here, along with John Ward, Melissa Murray, and Dave Richards. We want to thank or congratulate Chris Laverdier. She was the winner in our
She
Radio
survived.
Squares. She was the survival of the smartest, I guess.
She's a survivor, period.
She's the survivor, and she
Right.
wins $300. So hey, good for
Excellent.
her.
Congratulations.
We had two poor souls that were both. We had a new rule this year. We put in because last year we had a lot of people just like waiting, and it's like 2 minutes, and nobody's buzzed in.
No, oh yeah, 20
It was-
seconds, right?
Yeah, so we had a 20-second timer, and
If you don't buzz in, you both lose.
right, and so there was some discussion
Well,
or
good.
something about this, that, and the other thing, and while they discussed, nobody buzzed in, and then the timer went off,
Yeah.
and I said to myself, "Geez, I mean, you both lose.
Yeah.
What can I tell you?
You didn't answer
We
at
knew the
all.
rules going in here. I felt bad."
It only
But,
happened once, though, because everyone
only
else
happened
listening
once, yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
oh, I better
answer
better
something.
answer something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's face it. The majority of people involved in that are listening and don't have a stake in the game.
Yeah.
And so you have to be considerate of those people. So you have to get the game to move along. And then you try to be as fair as you can for the 40 people who play the game. And you know that 39 out of the 40 are going to lose right at the beginning, but which one's going to win? And you have to try to be as fair as you can. So that's what we did. We tried it.
And so, what was
I
it
might
you
go
were
with
doing?
30 seconds next time.
What was it you were doing that was causing so much inability to buzz in?
I don't remember. I don't remember. We have a recording of
It was a
it.
really tough question.
Well, I was
yeah.
gonna say,
we have a recording of the-
astrophysicists are not playing.
We always we always record these things in case there's a question afterwards, so we have an arbitrator.
I'm assuming they're simple
I don't
questions.
remember the question,
Relatively,
but the question did, and I repeated it, and it's you have to buzz in.
No one
There's,
did.
Okay, no, I get it.
7
That can
seconds
happen. That
left,
can happen.
and there's some discussion going back and forth. Because you know what I think was going on? Like, I really don't want to know this, but I think that the contestants would have somebody else in the room with them coaching them.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No, it's fine.
okay. Well, there's no way to police it, so
And
I'm
there's
not
always,
going.
There's always Google.
Yeah, that's what the other person's doing. Trying to type up as
You know,
fast
there's
as
a couple
I
of
can.
times I thought maybe somebody was doing
But,
that.
Oh, I think they are, Dave.
That silly question about the 42nd numeral and the pi equation, pi number, is a little tough.
Give me pi to 40 places.
Yeah, but you'll
All
get.
right.
Could take a while to
you
get
only
somebody
you only
to
had
buzz
the.
in.
Yeah, you had 20 seconds to buzz in. After that, you could take as long as you needed to actually answer the question, as long as you were getting on with the answer.
All right. Well, congratulations to Chris.
Yeah, Chris is the one.
She
She
wins
did
the
it.
300 also.
I think she's won before.
So possibly.
She's a
All right.
lucky girl,
And-
although except for in February.
Yeah, well, maybe she's enjoying her special.
Melissa brought that up. Yeah, she won the $300, and Melissa said to Denise, because she was out in the office, she says, "Hey, beats a spatula," because she got the booby prize in the
And
February
she picked
game.
it up, and so hey, okay.
It's a spatula.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna get on my soapbox here, because when I was going to college and taking my journalism classes, we were taught this is what you need for a news story, and it is the 1, 2, 3, 4. It was called the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, why, and how is thrown in there. But there's no W. Well, there is, but it's at the end of the word. So that's what you need. Those are the words. Those are the questions you need to answer when putting together a news story. And yet we have this news story from the DCYF. Okay, who?
Oh gosh, yeah.
12-year-old boy. What happened? Almost died. Why? We can't tell you. Where? We can't tell you. How? We can't tell you. So where's the
What town?
What town?
We can't tell you,
We can't
right.
tell you. So
So
where's the
where is
story?
one?
Other than when is in there? It happened on March 9th, but we didn't tell anybody until last Friday.
It's to spark legislative outrage.
Is that true, Melissa? We need more legislation now.
Possibly.
And what would be the
Oversight
legislation?
committee.
Well, I actually have a bill to limit DCYF caseloads per
Okay,
person.
There you go.
Right.
So all right.
But
No,
this,
I mean,
but I had already
that's
put that in.
legitimate. That's
Yeah.
legitimate.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their caseloads are outrageous.
Their
Matter of fact,
caseloads are outrageous.
you know,
yeah.
it's the saddest part. Not humorous, but you can do nothing but laugh about it because otherwise you'll cry and get depressed. If you listen to everybody who needs that much more out of the budget as their share between DCYF, DOT, education, every other possible unit, Medicaid, if everybody had what they felt they needed, you'd have to double the budget.
Easily.
Oh yeah.
And so
You can't.
it's impossible.
Yeah.
And then they compare us to New Hampshire, where their poverty levels are so much lower, their Medicaid burden is so much lower, that so many of their burdens are so much lower. So that the challenge Rhode Island has is, yes, we're a population about the same as New Hampshire, but our demographics in our population is so much different, and the burdens that the state has taken upon itself to solve those problems is so disproportionate to New Hampshire that to compare the two is apples and oranges. We are not New Hampshire, and New Hampshire is not us. And I don't know that there's ever going to be enough money because even now they scream they still need more money for economic development. And of course, people in New Hampshire will say, well, we do great economic development. We just let people do things as opposed to try to regulate them to death. And it's not how Rhode Island works. Our population is not as educated as New Hampshire's. Our population is not as
You sure about
trained, workforce trained as New Hampshire. Am I sure?
about the education part?
I'm going on instinct.
Okay.
I'm taking a chance that if I go look it up, I'll find out that I'm right. But every ranking I can think of where they talk about education in the country, I don't think Rhode Island races up to the top ahead of New Hampshire.
Well, I just bring it up because my being taught about journalism that this is not a story.
It's not a story.
Yeah, it's like, okay, 12-year-old child almost died.
But
And
if you brought
like,
that to an interview with somebody in oversight or somebody who's got a bill like Melissa that's talking about the need for lowering work caseloads for the people who work at DCYF because it makes it hard to keep them,
Yeah.
and it puts the children at risk, then it becomes a story because the who, what, why, where,
Yeah.
and when, the when is not as important. It's about the fact that it happened, and you're now going for, and how is it going to affect this legislative session, which makes it a different story with
Well,
the same information.
And is
don't-
that is it information coming from the Office of the Child Advocate, or is it coming from DCYF?
This story?
Yeah. it's just-
DCYF.
Okay.
They're the
It's
one. Oh,
self-reporting.
the Office of the Child
There you
Advocate
go.
has
Right.
been informed that DCYF shared no further information.
Yeah.
The other thing that always bugs me about this, and it's not here, but if you read the whole press release, the next thing that DCYF says, and every company says this now, our number one priority is the safety of our children, or the safety of.
Of course.
I go, I'm sick of hearing that.
Fine, as well.
So
it's
are
already,
we.
it's already guaranteed. It's already. That's already. Yes, we already know that part. Yeah, you want. Yes, of course, you want everybody to be safe. It doesn't need to be said, but maybe it does.
Yeah.
So
Tell it to the
Apparently it
parent.
does.
12-year-old child almost died.
the parents or the foster parents
Who don't believe you?
well, so if you go out and say it, they're gonna say I don't believe you anyway. 'cause
marketing.
This one almost died. But every company says that.
Of course
right?
they do.
Yeah.
You know, every bus company says it.
Absolutely.
Every airline says it. Safety is our number one priority. You know.
No.
And when they say that about the airlines, I'm like, no, your
Some
bottom
companies-
line's your most
Some
important priority.
some companies now, the most important priority is keeping the doors on.
Well,
Yeah. No, it is. It's how you do it. But the reality is, in government, it's there's the demand always exceeds the supply.
Okay. Dave had the story this morning. There's more crashes on the Washington Bridge in East Providence, in case you were wondering.
Gee, how could that be?
I don't know.
You only have to change lanes twice. Merge to the right, and you go from 4 to 2.
And some people don't let you in, and someone's
then-
coming over anyway.
And then, part of the problem is then you get ways like I use.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
going across that bridge, when I'm going to a particular location where I play golf in Rehoboth, and most times in the old days, it would take me over to exit 2 in Massachusetts, and I'd go through the back way that way. Except for some reason recently, it's now taking me off the exit right at the Washington Bridge, and to go down Route 44 through East Providence, which is
Less
nice.
traffic. Yeah.
Except I'm in the left lane.
Yeah.
So now I have to
Well,
cut over
get
2
over it.
lanes to get into the exit lane. And so maybe I'm causing the accidents. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not in them,
there's
but
a-
it's an awkward situation. So there will be more
50 to
accidents.
60% spike in accidents since December, since they
Not
closed it.
surprising.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, as Melissa said, it's not surprising.
Okay.
Shocking news.
So, and we all, this is bizarre. I think we all got the Amber Alert on Friday about the
Yeah.
the 5-year-old boy, 3-year-old boy.
Oh, by the way, but I'll bet you all of those accidents, no fatalities.
There haven't been. Well, they go too slow.
Because they're all too slow.
Yeah.
Because you can't get across.
So
There's
we,
no speed
They're fender
involved.
benders.
Yeah.
They're bumpers.
yeah.
They're rear
Little
enders.
crumbles.
so we all got the Amber Alert on Friday.
And Saturday.
I didn't see. That's the question. I didn't get one on
I
Saturday.
didn't get an Amber Alert.
See, okay, Melissa did. Dave did.
I did.
I know other people
It was
that
the
got
same
on
one.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
I
was
was
the same
on the
Amber
air,
Alert.
and my phone was
I know.
silenced, and it still
doesn't
came
matter.
through.
It always comes
Yeah.
through. And it was the same Amber Alert about the boy being
Correct.
kidnapped
Yeah, it was
from the
exactly
day
the
before.
same. Yeah.
From Chicopee, Mass, from the day before when he had already been found.
Oh.
Oh.
So why did some people get it
What time of day is it?
on
It was
Saturday?
during
or
the
Friday.
I don't know, whatever day you got it.
Well, on
On
Friday it
got
was
about noontime.
yeah.
Well, maybe a
on
little
Friday
before
it was
noontime.
just before noon,
Yeah.
and
it
on
happened at 9 in the
Saturday
morning.
it was like quarter to 10 or
10 or
something like
so.
that. We're on the air.
Yeah.
But only some people. Why did only some people get it? Not everybody. Not all of us. Like Friday.
Well, I think it goes by zip codes of where your phone is at the time, and it goes out a
Well, that's
certain
why I
number
was
of
asking.
miles.
Well, you got it, but John didn't.
That's why I was
And you're
asking
in the
if
same
it had
zip code.
something to do
Oh,
with
you
where
didn't
I
get it?
was. But I was at home all day, all morning Saturday.
Are you
doing
further
things.
east than I am?
By what, a
It's like
mile?
right there.
No, you're not.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm
you
further
are.
east.
Yes, just a little bit. I'm just
Where was the
thinking,
Amber
where's
Alert?
where's the 100-mile mark?
Where
is it
was the
like
Amber
I'm
Alert
inside the
from?
100-mile mark and you're
Chicopee,
100?
Massachusetts.
Chicopee.
Yeah. Out there in Western
We were all in the
Mass.
Or maybe it's
studio, though.
75
I mean,
miles
we were all-
to Chicopee. What-
Could have
what-
been a border thing. I don't know. Maybe it cut off at Vernon Park. I don't
We
know.
mentioned, John, Melissa, we mentioned to John about how not smart this gentleman was out there in Chicopee. When you steal a car, and he had to know that the child was in the back seat, and then he crossed state lines. Well, that's another charge.
But you're saying the child was found before we
He-
got the second alert?
Yes, the child was found on Friday because the man who stole the car, allegedly stole the car, dropped the child off at a hotel in Windsor, Connecticut.
Roadway Inn.
The Roadway Inn, and the workers went and got the child because, hey, there's a 3-year-old wandering around the parking lot. And then they got the Amber Alerts too. Oh, they called the police. We've got the child.
And
the
none of
car
that is-
went that way.
None of that is the story.
The one that
The
we got
real
here?
the
No.
real story is mom's facing charges for leaving your kid in the car.
She's the one that called 911 though.
So
Is-
what?
is she
She's-
facing charges?
Well, she wasn't in the car when he stole it.
Yeah.
The story we got here, the suspect is facing charges
Where's
in both Connecticut and Massachusetts.
What was
I don't
she doing when she left the kid in the car?
Got me.
With the keys in it?
That would be part of
Car
the
running probably
With
too.
the car running?
that would be part of the investigation, wouldn't it?
Run into the store to pick up some milk and.
It didn't say carjacking. It said the car
No, he
was
said
stolen.
Right, he didn't.
Which means
That's
the
different.
operator wasn't
the
behind
car.
the
Yeah.
wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's just weird that two
I
alerts
get it.
went
I'm just
out
wondering
and-
if it's one of these things where she just went in to get, well,
I
you
know,
can't-
but
Say
I know,
milk
you-
is stolen.
you can't count milk
you
because
can't do
milk's
that
always in
anymore.
the back of a store.
That's right. You can't
You'd
do
have
it
to- you'd
anymore
have to
because
limit
they
yourself-
passed laws
You'd have to
against
limit
it.
yourself to a candy bar and cigarettes. What's at the counter in the front? Where
So
the
if you're going
person.
for milk and leave the car running with a kid, it's okay.
No, I'm saying you can't.
farther 'cause
It's
it's
in the back of the store. You'd
Can't
lose
keep
sight
it
of
up.
the car.
Oh, so if you go
If
in
you
and
go
just
in and look
for a
at, if
candy
you're at the
bar-
counter
Someone
to buy
can
your
still
lottery
take the
ticket,
car
that's
even though
okay.
you're looking at it,
I'm
though.
not saying it's okay, but the chances of somebody just thinking they could steal your car when you're sitting right
okay,
there looking at
okay.
them through the window
Right.
is a different game.
All right. Well, anyway, I was just wondering why some of us got the Amber Alert the other Amber Alert on Saturday, and others didn't. Just
I don't
odd.
know, but I'm imagining that when they ask for the Amber Alert, they put it in and they say for so many miles from here,
All right.
out in a circle.
So we might have been at the edge.
Okay. And I think it comes down to someone hit the wrong button because the Amber Alert went out when the boy was already safe 24 hours ago. So
Yeah, it was the
Because
exact same message.
when I got the
Yes,
first one,
yeah.
I was at Post 85, which is even further
Yeah.
closer to Chicopee than Park Avenue is.
Mm-hmm.
And you are east of Park Avenue,
I am.
and so Park Avenue might have been the deciding
demarcation.
line.
Huh?
I don't know.
Okay. Break time once again here at Coffee and More coming up, so please stick around. At the turn of this century, 27% of people who passed away were cremated. By the year 2020, that figure rose to 56%. The Cremation Association of America projects that by the year 2040, 4 out of 5 Americans will choose cremation over a casket burial. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center of Woonsocket can answer your questions about the cremation process. Go online to providencecremation.com. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center on Spring Street, Woonsocket. Let them create the perfect service for your loved one. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center.
Hello, my name is Paul LaValle. I'm a Knight of Columbus with the Council 113 in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. We are sponsoring a scholarship fund for the Greater Woonsocket Catholic Regional School System. There are only 100 tickets being sold. They are $50 each. The first prize is $1,500. The second prize is $500. The third prize is $300. You can purchase them from any Knight of Columbus, including myself. My phone number is 401-651-5533. Plus at WOON Woonsocket Radio Station, 985 Park Avenue. Or the administrative office at 1200 Menden Road, Good Shepherd School. Thank you.
Coffee In here on ONAM and FM. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and Dave Richards, and John Ward is here. And I find the next still here. I find this next story kind of amusing here. Fix your wire there, Dave.
I don't want
there,
it.
there you go. All right. According to Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia,
yes, Georgia.
the Bible doesn't need Donald Trump's endorsement.
He's right.
You know, he's got a job that was previously held by a very famous person.
This guy
Senior
Warnock,
pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta,
Yes.
Georgia.
who had that before him?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, all right. And so, yeah, he accuses Trump of trying to sell the American people a bill of goods on Trump-endorsed Bibles.
Saturday Night Live had a lot of fun with this one last Saturday.
Trump announced last week he's selling a $60 edition of the Bible. This was last week, so it was ahead of Good Friday and Easter Sunday. I did not hear that he was selling his own Bible. Did he write it? Did he sign it?
No.
He certainly hasn't read it.
Ooh, good one, Melissa.
And his Bible also includes extras.
Like more commandments?
Constitution, Bill of Rights, a few things like that.
He wants to make Judea great again.
Ouch.
Okay. So, obviously I didn't buy one, so.
Cheapskate.
I know. So there was a baby born in Kentucky, Danville, Kentucky. Isn't that where, don't you know someone from there, Dave?
We know people from Danville, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
That's
Got
where,
my names mixed up. Okay.
let's see, a couple of very famous people worked at WDAM, which is the station that we visited in Danville, and they are Dick Van Dyke,
That's right.
and the other one was, I'm trying to remember his name. I can see his face right. There was another one.
A mother is surprised by a rarity found in her second child's birth. Honesty Henderson was born mid-March and already had 2 baby teeth. Healthline states that only 1 in 2,000 births have a baby born with teeth. Doctors at the hospital stated they hadn't seen the occurrence in over 20 years. The teeth are harmless to the newborn baby, but could cause a problem for the mother if she is breastfeeding.
Right.
That's a lot of pain. Ouch, 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 ouch.
The kid ain't gonna know no better.
No, the kid doesn't care. He just wants food. All right.
So do those just one baby? So
Two
are
ba-
those
two-
ba-
two
two baby
babies.
teeth?
babies.
Do
I'm
they
assuming
get
they're near each other, but
right? They could be like random.
one on the top, one on the bottom.
But
I don't know.
so those are the baby teeth. Are they replaced by the regular baby
Those are the
teeth?
baby teeth.
Are
No,
they
I don't
like a
think so.
third
No, those are the
set of
Thirds
teeth?
that are- no.
All right.
These will fall out eventually, and then they'll get their
Right.
Not that she waited too long to deliver, but I believe they walked out.
Hand in hand. April Fool.
2.5 feet tall, talking.
Got you believing it. Got you believing it.
I don't know if you follow these people at all online, but there's a pair of conjoined twins in St. Paul, Minnesota. Abby and Brittany
Yep.
Hensel.
Yep.
And one of them got married. The U.S. sisters posted videos of on TikTok account after the news revealed yesterday that Abby married an Army veteran named Josh Bowling in 2021. A caption on one of the videos reads, "If you don't like what I do, but you watch everything I'm doing, you're still a fan." So, Really,
all I
really
have to
bizarre.
offer is
yes.
she'll only be able to sleep on one side at night.
Yep.
Aren't there other instances of conjoined twins that got married? Was
I think
right-
there are.
Yeah, like in history.
Yes,
Yeah.
the very first ones that made the Guinness Book of World Records, and they called them Siamese twins back then because that's where they were from.
Right.
They were married to 2 different women,
Right.
so it
Correct.
takes a lot of understanding,
I guess.
to do this.
An open mind.
A lot of open minds, yeah. Now you say put your earbuds in. kind of thing. So, well, it's a different time, right?
uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're inspired.
To the panel, American Trump 40, and the hits just keep on coming. That's a good one. 766
Yeah, that's a good one.
40. So we have a two-legged cat, Melissa. You always have a good animal story. T-Rex, the rescue cat.
Back
at-
legs, right?
At the Al Van Humane Society, that's in South Haven, Connecticut, has been given custom-made wheels to replace his two front legs. Mm-hmm. Wow. You put the stumps on the front. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've seen dogs that have
On the front, I've seen them in the back.
on the back, not
Okay.
the front.
The cat was found under a boat in Covert Township a few weeks ago, and his legs needed to be amputated. An engineer from California was contacted by Muskegon's Big Lake Humane Society about the prosthetics, and they made a wheeler cart less than a week later and did not want any credit. Staff are working to get T-Rex used to the device.
T-Rex.
That's the name.
I know, but like,
with the short arms.
But I've seen other stories of cats that had, that were born with just back legs, and they ended up just like kind of toddling around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever see a dog that's got just two legs but on one side,
No.
No.
and they can still run? It's fascinating to watch.
Oh, I've seen. I mean, it's fascinating enough to watch a dog with one leg missing run.
Yeah, the two are missing.
Two
and yeah,
on one side.
Yeah, because animals just adapt. They don't have
they
that
just
mental
balance
block. They're just like,
themselves
okay,
out.
well, I'm just going to do this.
this is how I have to do it. Okay.
Yep.
I would think any animal's going to adapt in whatever way they can.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen. I occasionally watch these nature cams, and I know it's not consistent with my personality, but one of them I've seen with his deer out there, and for a couple of years in a row, I've seen one that comes out of the woods. It's got 3 legs, and it survives, which means clearly there's not a lot of predators around
Right,
going
yeah.
after it. But to think of a deer being able to survive, and when everybody scoots, that thing takes off just like everybody
All
else.
the others. Okay. So King Godzilla was the big movie over this weekend.
God.
Godzilla X Kong. Oh, it's versus Kong, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Well, it's X,
No.
yeah.
They use X. So it's Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah. It's they're partners in this one.
Oh, they teaming up?
yeah.
Little tag team?
Little tag team.
All right,
That might
let me
be Godzilla times Kong.
They have a common enemy.
yeah, Godzilla
Donald Trump,
X
right?
Kong, the New Empire. Who's the common enemy?
You have to go see the
Donald
movie.
Trump.
That's the
All right,
idea.
Donald Trump.
Matter of fact, I watched every trailer just to see how bad it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I didn't see one of their
Enemies?
enemies
All right.
in the whole thing.
Maybe that's what they want you to believe. It's really those two
But
against
that's
each
like
other.
the Godzilla versus Kong. You didn't see the enemy. You just saw a hint of it.
Yeah.
With one little part of the enemy's body show up in one scene in the clips. But
Well, it
what
came
they
in
do.
number 1. It took in $80 million over the weekend.
okay.
Not a bad haul. It knocked out last week's number 1, which was Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. That came in number 2 with 15.7 million in its second week. Third place was Dune, Part 2,
Dune 2, yes.
and fourth place, Kung Fu Panda 4.
Where did Barbie come in? That's what I want. to know.
Barbie's out of the theaters
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Barbie's on
Someone should
HBO.
make a new movie.
Hey, listen. Can we
Yeah,
be
right.
serious? Can we be serious about 90
I
seconds?
don't know. It's April Fool's Day.
Let's
then.
read those just a second. Read those titles again real quick.
Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
Okay.
Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. Dune Part 2, and Kung Fu Panda 4.
I was just looking for the one that has an actual story with some character development, but I guess not. Go ahead, Dave.
Too much to ask for.
It's all serialized movies.
What do you got, Dave? wanna be
Today
serious.
is April 1st,
Yes.
401. Same as the
Oh,
area
that's-
code in
that's
Rhode
right.
Island.
It's
And
Give Day,
401
isn't it?
Gives is today.
That's right.
There are many organizations in Rhode Island that are looking for a little bit of help. Some of them have co-sponsors that will match gifts that are made, and 401 gives today, and I just thought I'd point that out. Some of them are in Woonsocket. I don't want to favor any of them. I'll just let you know.
But this is all for nonprofit organizations.
It's all
Yes.
nonprofit.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yes.
And-
Check your email if you've ever given to a nonprofit through 401. You'll probably have a series of emails in the
You
last
will.
few days.
Is there a website that people can go to see a list of the businesses? Is it like 401.com?
I would think if you just type into Google 401 Gives, it'll
Gives,
pop
okay.
up to where you
Yeah.
need to
And
go.
it's all one word.
Campaign.
401 GIVES.
Okay, and it's just today, right? Or does it
Just
does-
today.
Yeah.
But it lasts until like tomorrow at like.
No,
6
the money
o'clock at
lasts
night?
for a long time
No,
after
no, no.
that, depending on how much you give.
The giving is all today, but I thought it was
It's
like an
today.
18.
It's like a campaign to
Today.
raise awareness to give to the nonprofits today, which started in 2020, correct?
Yeah, it was basically a COVID initiative.
Yeah.
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 It worked out so well. We're gonna keep doing it, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, that'll do it for the show
It's
for
like,
today.
it's like mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
They just keep on
and
giving,
drop
huh?
boxes.
All right, that'll do it for today. Thank you very much for listening. Dave Richards, thanks for coming in.
A pleasure.
All right, Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in as well.
Thank you. Have a great
And,
week, everyone.
John Ward, have
Well,
a great meeting
Well,
tonight.
I'll say we'll see you all, but we'll hear you all this evening. No, you'll hear me all this evening at 6 o'clock at Harris Hall. Come on down
All right.
and
Have that-
enjoy a meeting.
Have that gavel in hand in case anybody gets out of hand. I don't hear yelling and
That
screaming.
doesn't happen.
I always do.
Happened last time.
Well, but it wasn't necessary. That was my hands.
Oh, was it? I thought
That
you
was my
grabbed the
hands
gavel.
that slammed the table.
Oh, I thought it was the gavel.
Oh, that was my emotions
All
showing.
right, we'll do it again. All right.
And I don't have any emotions. That's
Well, not yet,
The
anyway.
medical profession is still looking into it.
I thought they removed your heart, right? All right, that'll do it for
Wait
me.
a minute. April Fool.
That's right. Stay tuned for Leslie Page with At the Library and Karen Zangari with Food First. It's next on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
There is a new acting director at the Rhode Island Department of Health. Dr. Stacey Fisher will fill the role with the retirement last week of acting director